Woke up this morning and the condensation on our windows has turned to ice. So to be clear, the air in here is a decent temperature. The furnace was on all night, but the windows and the floor are ice cold.
Oh.
Now the trouble is, we've got our water lines underneath our bed lying right along the ground.
Oh.
And yes, one of them has frozen and burst. So there's actually a bit of ice dangling off one of those vinyl tubings onto a blue rag. The blue rag's already been there. But once that ice melts, I think, all that water's gonna come out that hose.
Okay.
So we got to get rid of this water. Trouble with getting rid of all this water, we got about 150 liters, 40 gallons. Underneath the bus is the gray tank, also completely frozen.
Oh man.
So we got to just start driving north, back to Canada. We're done with this trip. We need to fix this.
This is our last day.
This is the last day. So we got 8 hours drive. We're gonna drive north, and every hour or so we're gonna check and see if it's thawed out. Because once that thaws out, we got a ton of water's gonna flood this thing.
Right. Okay.
So we got to get moving.
Let's go. Let's go.
Bummer, dude.
I know it sucks.
Let's go.
Oh, at least Jean is happy. Oh.
Thinking about being a baby. She's got no cares in the world, man. Look at her. She's happy as a clam.
Oh, Jean is happy. That's all that matters. Okay, Jean, let's go home. Let's try to see Nana by the end of the night, okay? Yay!
We have stopped to do our hourly check. How is it doing, Steve? No problem?
I think it's okay, man.
It's okay, alright.
I think it's not actually broken the line. It's just where the hose clamp is around the vinyl tubing. It's leaking out around that. It's possible when it melts, it won't leak anything.
I hope so. Alright, we just gotta keep checking every hour or something, just to make sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull over every hour to make sure it's not.
Right now it's alright.
Okay.
Okay.
The worst case scenario, just water just running down the hallway
true.
and you're just doomed. But so far, I think
now
it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it looks okay now. Same as it was.
On the road again, and the sun is getting brighter, which means it's gonna get warmer.
This is my life. My beautiful baby, my beautiful wife, and some sandwiches beside the highway. Another hour, another stop. Right here at that Dollar General parking lot. Water lines are still all frozen. And the lovely Ivana is making some wraps. Ooh. Ready to go home, Jean? Ready, Dada? Okay, let's keep it moving.
Welcome to Canada. Here we go, Mississauga.
Here we go! Must be near Toronto. We got some traffic. 4 o'clock on a Sunday.
We're home.
My dad's such a good guy. He moved the cars over and he shoveled all the snow perfectly.
Home
So we can fit in the driveway with this big old bus. And so I managed to lie on the cold, hard ground and fire up a propane furnace and effectively melt all the ice that was in the tanks underneath the bottom of the bus. And then my very brilliant father fashioned up this piece of garden hose, which on one end plugs into my lines beneath my bed, and on the other end plugs into an air compressor, meaning we blew out all of the water from all the lines on the bus and pushed it through our recently thawed out tanks, and we have totally winterized the bus. So as of right now, all of the emergency repairs are done and everything should be okay back there. All I've got running now is the furnace you can hear because it's -8 Celsius outside. So now that the emergency repairs are done, we are going to do some repairs and fixes of things I wanted to install since our first month on the road, starting with doubling our battery bank. Now I'm so happy we got yet another 280 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. I'll explain to you what my intention is with that in a second, but first things first, I've got to do a lot of work, which will ultimately have me lying on the ground in -8 C again. So let's grind this out, get this thing installed, and then I can tell you about my epic battery bank. Let's do it. Now, unfortunately, my battery box won't accommodate another big battery. So I've built a little bracket for it underneath the bed, and now I've got to run some cables from the back of the bed to the battery box underneath the bus here. Now, first things first, turns out battery cables are very expensive. So what I did was I bought some jumper cables with the alligator clips. Then I cut the alligator clips off and soldered some eyelets on myself. Now I've got to try and get this conduit with my homemade battery cables from the battery box to a hole in the floor under the bed, all nice and tight, and avoid the wheels here and make everything work. Did I mention it's -8 Celsius? Gosh.
Hi, babe.
Huh? Ooh, turning the cameras on. Say hi. Thanks for the bagel. Ah, stupid me. Made my battery cables exactly the right length coming through the back of that box, so I've got to get my wrenches up underneath here. I should have made them like 4 inches too long. Gave myself some space to work. Now I got to get these wrenches up in there and make sure not to touch the positive to negative, because I did that once and I scared the crap out of myself. Hooray, the job is finally done, which means my hands are starting to warm up. So once I connect this positive to this positive, I will have doubled my amp hours, bringing me to 560, which is pretty darn great if you ask me. Now, what I've been doing is I've been using this chart that shows me how many volts should be left in the system in terms of the percentage of charge, because I'm sort of new to this 12 volt RV wiring, and I do have a voltmeter up at the front of the bus, which has never been lower than 12.3 or even 12.4 volts, meaning I've never even used 50% of the charge in the one battery I had, the original 280 amp hours. So I've been really impressed with these Eco-Worthy batteries. And keep in mind, that external battery box you saw is obviously not insulated. So when it's really cold outside, that battery is really cold. And Ivana and I have had this bus parked for like 3 or 4 days before, using our 12 volt system the entire time in the cold, and the battery still seems to be really strong and lasting. Now you might be wondering, if I've never used more than half the battery, why did I get another one? And so my plan here is to get an e-bike. And I think, I'm pretty confident with these 2 batteries, I'll be able to fire up my inverter and charge my e-bike off battery, which makes me feel like a genius. I mean, that just seems like an awesome idea, because the trouble with these builds, these buses, is when you realize you need to go to the store to buy one item, whether it's milk or butter or cream for tomorrow morning's coffee, you have to pack up the entire bus and get everything back on the road. And so the e-bike can be really nice to quickly dart out to the local convenience store. And I honestly think that these 2 batteries will be able to charge my e-bike. Like I said, I've been so impressed with the Eco-Worthy batteries. Stay tuned to find out if I can charge up my e-bike with my batteries, but I think I can. And so with that being said, we've got more work to do now that we've got 560 amp hours. Just awesome. Oh, pause the video, everybody. Check this out. Top of the battery, there's a QR code I can scan, and via app I can check the percentage of my battery. Now it's 28% now, because this one's brand new, so it's lower than I've ever seen it. The one up front doesn't have that capability. Anyway, my voltmeter is not entirely necessary, because this thing is more accurate. It tells me I got 78 amp hours remaining, and the battery temperature is okay. It's pretty handy, actually. Oh, even the voltage of each individual cell So there's 4 cells in that battery, and they all got 3.3 remaining volts, which shows that it's working properly, I suppose. Now let's see what happens if I start the engine. Maybe it'll show that it's charging. Let's see. Pretty clever. Now it says battery status charging. And it's got 14.1 volts, 14.2 volts, which is fully charging, and 26 amps. Kind of slick. I got the little voltmeter up front I showed you, but this is far more sophisticated. Tell you what, guys, I'm not trying to brag, but actually I am. Look at the sign here. Come on. That came together pretty well. For me, that's about as good as it's gonna get. The letters are all the same size. The 2 O's are a little different. The S is hard with all the curves. But in the end, I had that sign in my head for like more than a month now. And it came together pretty good. Home is wherever I'm with you, right above our bed. Not bad at all. Pardon me that the rest of the bus looks like a mess right now, but at least the sign in the bedroom looks good. And so I also installed a keyed switch above the toggle switch that opens the door. So now you can turn the lock, which makes the toggle switch not do anything, effectively locking the door. If you guys remember, I had a 3-position keyed switch there before, and it kept breaking. We broke 2 of them in the first month. So now we have a better way to lock the door, hopefully. And now that we're back inside the house, in 2 days, we are flying to Brazil. No rest for the vloggers. So the bus is going to be parked outside for the month. We're going to be in Brazil for a month.
Yes.
Which is a good reason that the bus is winterproof now. No water on board. Everything should be ready to rock. We'll be in Brazil till February 3rd, and then we will be back in the bus going south. So
everything better work this time.
The first month in the bus was the testing.
Yeah.
We've improved everything. The battery bank we have is so good now. The door should open better. Everything's improved. I'm so cold I can't even think of what I did. My hands are frozen.
Good job.
Going to have a hot shower. See you guys in Brazil.
Bye.